For the next question, let's mix it up, and we will start with Amanda Howland. The question is, how would each of your plans for the budget affect the tuition for not only in-district students, but for out-of-district students as well?
Can you repeat that?
Sure. How would each of your plans for the budget affect the tuition for not only in-district students, but for out-of-district as well?
The one thing that we're doing as a board and have always done is to try to keep tuition costs down. When we look at our budget for the school, we look first at where can we make cuts, where can we consolidate within the upper levels so that it doesn't affect the students directly. We don't want to be in a position where we have to keep coming to the students for more and more money, because that's not going to help you. So as we look at the budget long term, we're always looking 3, 4, 5 years out, saying, where are we going to be with this budget? What do we need to do in order to keep our costs down? Obviously, out-of-district students traditionally pay more than in-district students. That's the way it is at every college, community college or four-year college. If you go to an out-of-state school, you pay a different tuition rate. That does bring in dollars, but we have to keep that cost reasonable also. We don't want any of our budgeting to cause an undue burden on any of our students, whether they're in district or out of district. So I think as a board, what we look at is being fiscally responsible, looking at a balanced budget, trying to make sure that we're maximizing the resources that we have and consolidating where we can, and anything that's top-heavy that we can cut, we strongly urge administration to take a look at cutting. Thank you.
Great. Let's go to Philip Durant.
Very good. Thank you. Look, as a business owner, and again with my background in finance, worked with Arthur Anderson, as a 10-year board member on a local government board here, where we turned the board around from being in a deficit balance for over 8 years to now having, for the past 6 years, funding reserves that were available to us and things we can do. The things I'm looking at are terms that we would use in business, and one of the terms is price point. So what we want to do is we're going to look at the price point per student. We want to compare what is our student tuition rate and the value added that we're giving these students compared to how much of DuPage, to Harper Valley, to the other community colleges in the area. So we want to be competitive. We want to have a price point that's very competitive with our competing institutions. But what concerns me is this. There's something we would call a per pupil expenditure ratio. We want to look at how many students we have that we're serving compared to our operating expenses, and I think even more importantly, our administrative expenses. And if you look at those details very carefully, I'm a numbers guy, right? It's really pretty shocking what you'll see. This was an article published again in the Daily Herald. If you look at this article, it's dated 11/30/2014. Community colleges work to beat enrollment slump, and the figure that they show us is that over the past 4 years, CLC has had a 14% decline in enrollment. Now, when I looked at the budget for those 4 corresponding years, I didn't see a corresponding decline. I saw the budget continually rising. So what that means is our per pupil expenditure costs are also rising. Do you realize that over 64% of all the revenues coming into CLC come from property tax? Right? So these are the numbers that really concern me. I'm a numbers guy. I look at a budget in extreme detail, and I see what's happening here. This really concerns me. What I'm concerned about is the term sustainability. So this concerns me. And if I'm on the board, if you elect me to this board, I guarantee you I'm going to look at this and I'm going to make sure CLC is very sustainable, and I'm going to guarantee you that we're giving our students the best value possible at their price point. Thank you.
And then we can continue with William Griffin.
Well, I do have a finance background as well. I have an MBA in corporate finance, and again, was chief operating officer at company, senior VP, and also general manager. So the numbers mean something to me as well. Our tuition, $121, free credit, of course. We are in the middle of the pack with our peers as far as tuition goes. But we are going to have some challenges ahead. And with our overall budget moving forward, For many years, we enjoyed a lot of growth here in Lake County. All of those new homes that came on and were built in Lake County brought more revenue, tax dollars to us. And as we know, that growth is not continuing, it won't continue as the market has continued to be saturated. But we are going to have some challenges in the budget in the years ahead. We know that. We are preparing for that. We just finished our financial retreat a couple of weeks ago. We know where the numbers are. We know that we're going to have to take some changes here. And if the state, which I believe they will, probably will reduce our numbers, or at least the contribution they're making to us, which is about $7 million or $8 million right now. We're prepared to make those changes. The administration knows that. We're going to have to consolidate more and more of the departments here and hold back on administrative hiring. There's no doubt about that in the future. So we're getting ready for it, but I think it's important that you have people on the board that understand these things and can exercise the right opportunities when those challenges come up to us. And I think we can do it.
Thank you so much. And then we can hear from Richard Anderson.
Thank you. This is an area where the College of Lake County has consistently done a great job. Consistently. I'm going to give you some facts, and you tell me what other board in Lake County can say this. Currently, we have 34% of our budget in reserve. We have the history of, since the beginning, 40, 45 years, straight years of balanced budgets. Now tell me, how many other entities can say that? Not too many. We have a AAA bond rating. There's 29 higher education units in the entire country that have a AAA bond rating. Not just community colleges, higher education units. That means Harvard to Stanford to the University of Illinois to Parkland Community College. That is an amazing feat. And yet I'm hearing this stuff about like we just woke up out of the Cabbage Patch and we're going to do a budget. No, we've been doing it for a long time. As recently as a week ago, this past Tuesday, we had our finance retreat. If the candidates had the three of us were there, and we had an energetic conversation about our budget, our future, and where we're going. But this is about tuition. And tuition is something that we as a Board of Trustees has control over. And 2 years ago, we decided on a 2-year step increase in tuition. It's going to be kind of hard for the administration to come back to us again next year and say we need more tuition when enrollments are. So, thank you.
Thank you. And then we can continue with Timothy Powell.
No one likes to see their tuition rise. No one wants to see additional costs that they're not prepared for. And as a treasurer of the Grays Lake Library Board and have served on numerous other boards preparing budgets, I know the difficulty is looking at facts, figures, stats. We have to adjust things here at the College of Lake County. We don't want to impact anyone too seriously. But again, not knowing what the future lies, again, it's been echoed that funding is going to be scarce from the state of Illinois. Federal funding could be scarce. We have to look at other avenues as far as really pulling up our bootstraps and far as looking where we can possibly cut. We have to make this budget last, and we have to make the salaries last. We don't know what's in the future for us. We have union contracts that we have to address. We have other issues here to pay salaries, to pay other bills that are paid for with situations where their cost, transportation costs, gasoline rises, and they have to pass that on. So we have to be prepared here at the College of Lake County to do what we can to make sure that we're functioning.
Thank you.